How are you doing? It is the 25th of February, 11 a.m. As you might have heard in the last couple of days, there has been a implementation of a soft fork, and it's been pushed through by a majority of consensus witnesses on the Steem blockchain. That means the top 20 Steem witnesses. This soft fork is to enable, I guess, some kind of protections in some way for the Steem blockchain. And I think that, so for that perspective, I think that is a smart move in terms of if the communications between this new party that's involved, which is Justin Sun, a lot of the witnesses have seen this as a hostile, potentially a hostile takeover of the blockchain. There is a lot of Steem power that Justin Sun has inherited, or Tron has inherited, which potentially, if used to vote, could have big ramifications on the blockchain itself. And so, as a core consensus witness in the top 20, it is their prime core ethic to maintain the integrity of the chain. For that, they should be commended. I think that is a smart move. The problem is I feel like what's happened is they've actually gone ahead and weaponized Steem based on the projects that they have on the Steem blockchain. Because a lot of the people who are in consensus are so because of the Steem-based projects that they've built on top of the blockchain. And so they have a lot to lose by somebody moving in and changing things up, because it changes everything they've worked for in the last 3 or 4 years. So I can kind of see that perspective as well. However, there's something really, really worrying to me, and I think you need to be aware of it, and I think you need to have an opinion on it, and I think you need to really dig deep on it. I want to state this is maybe slightly personal, and maybe is on the back of some bad actors in Steem cleaners that have nuked a couple of my accounts because of some infractions on one of those accounts, but I still got blocked on the other one. So this is coming from a place of pain and frustration, but not enough to make me annoyed to leave or power down or anything like that. I feel like the immutability, free speech part of the blockchain got secured with this action. And I kind of feel like they didn't have anywhere else to go. I felt like this was something that they had to do. But what I want to bring up, and I think is very important, is I feel like, and this has happened because of something that I saw this morning that was posted, where Agro had said about the Steemit Carta. He's using the English Magna Carta as a reference, which was one of the most proliferated and used legal documents globally, that was put together by lords and barons of England. And I'm kind of concerned that we have kind of this power struggle, megalomania going on in the consensus witnesses in the top 20. I'm not going to say this for everybody, because I don't see Roland P as that. I see him as like a peer to look up to. I feel like he's a voice of reason. I feel there's a reason why he's number one witness today, and Agro has dropped down to 16. And even the other guy, I can't think of his name right now, who worked on Splinterlands, he's down to 5th position. And so, there's going to be a lot of movement going on. There's a lot of people who've shut down their witnesses. And everybody's probably freaking out a little bit, because this comes down to personal responsibility. It comes down to ethics. It comes to the perception of how you feel as a decentralized user using decentralized networks. If you're centralized, you can go to one body and say, this is bullshit because of X, Y, Z reasons. But everybody here who's holding any Steem is an investor in this place. But I kind of feel there's some kind of megalomania, lord, godlike thing going on here when you start to use the England original Magna Carta as your kind of reference point to your moment, if you like. And I feel like this I think that has been pulled together by a small group of people. There's definitely some middleman snakes here. I'm not going to mention any names, but they've got businesses hosted in Malta. Also, they shut down their witness, by the way, changed their names. They work in a very sneaky, slippery way, which concerns me about who's actually running the blockchain, right? So if you have people in positions of power that have business interests as consensus witnesses, does that not break from a moral, ethical point of view the whole idea of governance? If a number of those people in the top 20 can be manipulated in a way to make them believe that actually this is about reinforcing the structure of the blockchain, when really this is about getting a ticket to have a sit-down talk with Justin Sun to convince them that they should follow their lead and the things that they've done and their community. I feel like this is just about maintaining position and status. I don't think this is 100% about securing the blockchain. I honestly don't feel that way at all. When I first heard the news, I was like, that's a smart move because you had nowhere else to go. You have to secure the blockchain. A hostile takeover coming in. I personally feel like we've had a hostile takeover since they laid off people at Steem. They got rid of a load of people. They didn't get necessarily rid of all the right people. There's still people they should have got rid of, because people seem to forget for about 2 or 3 years the so-called marketing that should have been done on the blockchain. Somebody was just taking a free ride and licking Ned's ass until he actually departed. So there's a lot of people that still need to go and need to be fired, and Justin Sun needs to be aware of that a big shake-up at Steem it needs to happen. Although I would say the main developers of the code of the blockchain, they need to be invested in more. They need to have more money pointed in their direction, because they've managed to make this blockchain stand out and scale more than anything out there on the web. And it's why we're all so passionate about it, because everybody sees the technology, everybody sees that it's actually good stuff. We take the knocks, people call it a shitcoin, but we still back it. I still make videos about it. I still post my stuff here. Even through all the drama, all the shit, we still turn up to see what people have to say. There's a lot of deep and meaningful conversation that goes on that people want to engage over. And I don't think it's just drama based. I think it's people trying to discover what value is as a node in a decentralized network means to them. And that's ever evolving because of all these impacts. So I feel like we've already had a hostile takeover many times by dApps, community groups, even people coming into this blockchain who are exploiting it and extracting value from the chain en masse. A lot of people would say that I have done that by taking money out of the blockchain for the work and the content that I put on it. You probably don't see it as work or content, and that's fine. Everybody has an opinion of what media, content, and time is of a value to you. Mine is that if I'm doing any video and I can be incentivized for it, why would I stack Steem anyway right now? Like, if we had a big couple of investors come in now, what are you gonna do? You're gonna comment them out because you want to keep this vibe going of how Steem has been? I just don't know if we're protecting the chain or if we're trying to protect the number one groups on the chain, because you feel like you've got it all worked out, you've got all the answers, and you just want everybody to fall in line with you. In some ways right now, I do hope Justin Sun just comes and fucking steamrolls all of it, because what's happened is you've used this power play environment that you've created, instead of just being governed witnesses controlling the outcome of the chain. You've weaponized it. You've weaponized it to the point of saying to that big investor, we don't want you, because you're not talking to us, we don't want you to screw up our blockchain as it is, and we want to have better comms. Now, part of me wants to believe that, but the way that you've treated a huge subsection of the blockchain, I don't believe that to be true. I feel like you're grabbing at straws now to have a seat at that table, to try and convince Justin to invest in your projects or continue to make your project. I don't feel like this is about decentralizing a blockchain at all anymore. I feel like this has now been used and hijacked by a group of 10 to 20 people who don't like when Ned was here and he wasn't voting, that was okay because you could manipulate and he was malleable. But now that somebody's come along that is a bigger presence than you, that has a bigger vision than the vision that you have, and you don't like it, you're deciding to like put a little bit of a roadblock there, right? This whole terminology that you use of the Magna Carta and, oh, it's a temporary thing and it's reversible. Like you have a bartering chip? That doesn't sound like top 20 witness governance to me. That sounds like weaponizing and using this because you're not getting what you want. And Justin Sun and Tron Foundation is under no obligation to give you a sit-down ticket meal at the table of his investment. And then to use almost psyops in your blog post by saying, oh, well, Ned there's probably fraud that's gone here. There's probably fraud that's gone on with Steam Engine. I mean, you can wrap it up as much as you want. This is about power play positioning. This isn't just about securing the blockchain. And you only have to see the way that people have voted for witnesses to see that people are on edge, doubtful, concerned about motives. I don't see how any big investor can come here and invest in Steam anymore. But maybe that was part of your plan as well. Maybe you wanted to keep it like this. Maybe the last 3 or 4 years of you toiling away and digging at the blockchain and building up your SP and creating your little safe zones with walls around it, that was the whole point. As long as you could hold on to that long enough, filter out all the other people that you could influence and put the price up, and then you're just going to do what everybody else has done. You're just going to exit a lot more than you had before, but with your ethics intact. So, I mean, Exile posted a post about it's a sad day for Steam, and I don't know what's gone on with I don't know what's gone on with the Exile and other witnesses and fallouts or not fallouts or using it as forced narratives or whatever. I don't care about that. What I see is a person who's obviously hurting because of his investment in Steam, but also I think the big takeaway from me from Exile's video is that we've created this action now, and that has ramifications and knock-on effects. And I'll be honest, I'm completely torn, and maybe that's the whole point of doing this, about the motives now. Great, we've secured the chain, but at what expense? And I've created a blog post and I've put a load of things that came into my head. I feel like we're just doing all of the things that centralized platforms, centralized companies, there seem to be a whole bunch of mental health thrown in there just for the sake of it. And I don't see anything new here anymore. I don't see Steam as the decentralized platform for freedom of speech. I feel like it is a centralized group of people who are manipulating and managing almost collectives of people to shape it in their image. And these are people who have failed before. This is their last ditch attempt to come along and to infiltrate this and to make it their own little piece of history. It's kind of sad. It's really kind of sad. And I have loads of opinion about it. Like I say, I'm completely torn about it because the core component for me with blockchain and Steam was about it making it an immutable ledger for me to post. And we have that today. We have secured that, and we've sent our intention to a so-called hostile takeover potentiality. But then we also have those people on the inside as well that are doing a hostile takeover by doing this very thing. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I can see Steam having a group of people that have the token, but I think you've just screwed it for any big investments to come along, because this is always going to be brought up now. All right, that was really well really badly put together, completely like all over the place. But at the end of the day, that's just how I feel about it. That's my emotive feeling about the situation right now, is that we've put ourselves into a interesting corner, and I think it's going to damage a lot of relationships for those people who were on the fence, and I think for those people who use business, supposed business acumen to get what they want, will end up squeezing the life out of this, and then they'll just fuck off and disappear, because that's what they've always done. This was their little safe zone. This is where they were making their little kitty up, and a lot of people need to get their fucking mental health looked at, myself included, probably. All right, I'll catch up with you soon. Take care. Bye.
Drifting slowly into an empty space where I can go. I'm just a